I'm gonna get the big gun out for this. Once you find out that the pizza is fully gliding off and there's no wet sticky bits, you can just if you wanted to do that, then you could do that. The thinnest pizza in the world, Brazilian thin crust pizza. But is it the crispiest? Oh, it's pretty crispy. Stay tuned, I'm gonna give you an in-depth look into this whole thing. I just realized how ironic it is that I said in-depth. You might know Brazil best for its Futebol, Carnaval, and one of 7 wonders of the world. It's also where, in 1889, coffee planters who overthrew the monarchy made a plan to subsidize Italian immigration. Of the 3 million immigrants from 60 different countries to move there in the next 50 years, 1.2 million of them were Italian, and 70% of them moved to Sao Paulo, now proudly boasted as the pizza capital of Brazil. Amongst other things, they like to put a cream cheese called catupiry on their pizza, dip them in a ketchup mayonnaise mix called golf sauce, but what might be the most distinct is their version of a thin crust pizza, made distinct by the low protein flour that they use that's not available anywhere else, which means if you want to make it, you're gonna have to perform some magic. Or watch this video. I'm gonna show you this in depth. Rolling with the food. We're using a recipe modified by me and invented by your boy Nathan Merville. Basis of it is in Brazil, they've got this flour which is super low protein. It's called Anaconda Tipo 3 Trigo something or other, but you can't find it anywhere. So the solution is to use some of this stuff. Cake flour, super low protein. We're lowering the protein with this. So the overall protein, when we had good old bread flour, will be lowered. It will give us the same effect that Anaconda flour does, which is going to allow us to make a thinner pizza, yet still maintain a pizza texture. So you can mess around with it. Just do bear in mind, the more you lean towards cake flour, the more tender it will be, and the more you lean towards bread flour, the more denser it will be. So right here, we're doing 170 grams of good old cake flour, and we're going to add to that 137 grams bread flour. These lower protein flours, they will take on a lot less water than the higher protein counterparts. I've made quite a few of these already, kind of determined that the crispiness can be improved. So we're going to add a bit of sugar, and it's important to know what sugar does. Sugar is a humectant, hygroscopic. Think of it as like a water magnet. This is good for having a crispier crust. The exterior of the pizza is basically not letting the water out as soon as it would without it, so that you've got less steam leaving the pizza, and therefore it allows the exterior to crust. We're doing 15 grams of sugar. Pop that in there right now, like that. Boom. Well, and we're not just going to stop. That's my addition. We're going to go with Nathan Merville's special scientific addition. This is polydextrose. Very similar concept. To be completely honest with you, I don't know if it does act like a humectant, just like sugar does. It does crisp on the pizza. So we've got 15 grams of regular sugar and 3 grams of polydextrose. 3 grams is 1% of the total flour weight, give or take. No more than that. Or 1.5 grams of instant dried yeast. It doesn't require activation. So you chuck it in your flour, and we're going to add one more little special ingredient, and it is a dough relaxer. Ask somebody, why are they using a dough relaxer? Most people, they'll answer with, to make your dough easier to shape. Why do you use a dough relaxer? It's to relax the dough. Doesn't really help, does it? Snapback is also called tenacity, and it's a pain in the arse. But it can also mean your pizza might be shit. And in some cases, snapback is actually expected. Like, for instance, when you're rolling it out with a rolling pin. Meat tenderizer or bromelain is derived from pineapple enzyme. These all work on enzymatic levels. Another thing that acts on enzymatic levels, garlic powders. These are potent. This is not. You have to be very exact with these. You can sprinkle this all over the fucking place if you want. There's a kind of a ceiling to it. I've already used all 3, and I can tell you that if you really want it to be effective, then you should use these. But why are we using it? That's the question. So this stuff is called meat tenderizer, but you can change the word meat to protein, because that's what meat is, and that's what we're tenderizing in there. But the one I'm using today is bromelain. Well, it's got other stuff in it, but we don't care about that. We used 1% with the polydextrose. This goes down another decimal place, 0.001. So we want 0.3. Oh, see, that's already way too much. That is twice as much as is required. Crazy, isn't it? But it's true. Needless to say, going crazy with this is going to turn your dough into a sloppy load of shit. This will also go straight in here. 2 ingredients we're going to reserve. One of them is good old salt. Everybody knows why. Find out if you don't. I'll put a couple of different links right here for those people. We're adding it later so that we can develop the gluten without its interference. 6 grams, which is just over one of your beautiful little teaspoons that you use. That to the side. Boom. See you later, salt. So this is going to be 30 grams all day in olive oil. They go off and sit with the salt, and they just watch. They just watch in with envy for a little bit. We've got one last bad boy ingredient, 155 grams of water. For those mathematicians out there, you will know that that's 50-ish, 51% low hydration. So we're going to mix it all up now. When you first start mixing this stuff up, you're going to think, what's he told me to do this for? Super dry. It takes time. It takes a minute, especially with the bread flour. The bread flour is not as thirsty. Very dry. Get it out. Shake it all about. You do the hokey pokey. That's what it's all about. Work this for a little bit, not too long. We don't want to go fucking crazy. What is happening right now? It won't be happening forever. What could that possibly be? So when you mix flour with water, protein turns into gluten. Everybody knows that. You move it around, it develops. You can overdevelop it, you can underdevelop it. And I'm definitely simplifying this because there's millions of things. Well, not millions. Hydration, the amount of salt, when you add the salt, fat, acidity, time, temperature. The list is endless. Even taking it out of the container to shape it, not done delicately, can build up some of that tenacity in the short term. So the why is to improve gluten development, but knowing how is definitely the least understood, yet the most useful. Like, not a lot of people know this, but adding relaxers or reducers is temporary. They kind of cut the longer gluten chains into smaller chunks. They think about a long chain and they take links out of it. They make them shorter. This is not unlike the way fats shorten gluten chains. That's why they call fat shortening. That stay in the dough until they've been melted, basically. The amount and physical makeup of reducers means that after some time, they will no longer affect gluten, which this then allows us to relax the dough and develop the gluten network as a whole, and get a more thorough development going, and then off it goes again. Off you go again. Off you go again, you doughy bastard. 5-ish minutes kneading this dough. That's when we'll add our other gluten ninjas. They will come in and do their jobs. Every single one of these doughs done in my hand, because this is just enough for 2 pizzas. There's no way with all of that oil that this thing in my mixer just won't cut it. You can mix it up to this stage, but the minute you put that in it, it's just going to go. One of the best indicators that your dough is getting there is its smoothness. Once it starts to get smooth, then it's able to build up surface tension. Once you feel that soft baby bomb feeling, she will go back in the bowl, and we will start to introduce olive oil. We'll fold it in. You can put your salt in now as well. And then once you've got most of the oil incorporated, it's back to the nice clean surface to properly knead it for another 3 or 4 minutes. When you get to this point, you're going to feel it really show its doughy nature, and it won't be long before it'll feel baby smooth again. Basically, as soon as that happens, we're good. Going to let it rest at room for 15. We'll roll it into a ball. It doesn't have to be nice. Give it a little pat. Actually, don't smack it around like that. Oh, that. Oh, that. If you don't feel like adding any of these relaxers, you can rest the dough for a little bit. When it starts to snap back, cover it up, give it a few minutes and go back to it. You can be very gentle with it. You can also underknead it a little and allow good old time to work its magic with longer proofing. If you can just rest, be very delicate with it, why bother with buying special shit for it? But this is how I see it. Our dough is so strong that the mere touch of it and the handling of it and allowing it to rest for a little while then becomes more manageable until we touch it or fuck around with it again. To me, we haven't had an advantage when it comes to developing its gluten network. We haven't done it optimally. In my view, it just gives us a little chemical advantage. My favorite type of advantage. It's like taking something that's bothersome out of the room while you deal with the thing, and then, oh, I dealt with it. Come on back in. Just split this into two. You wouldn't believe these tiny little balls. They're roughly 260. They're going to make 16-inch pizzas. Here's the deal. One is going to sit out at room for 1.5 hours. We'll put that there. We'll come back in exactly an hour and a half and make the pizza. The way I'm cooking this is by heating up a steel in the oven, and I'm going to chuck it straight on the steel. The other one's going to sit in the fridge till tomorrow. I will see her tomorrow. So this is going to sit out at room temperature for an hour and a half. After half an hour, I can set the oven on so that it can preheat. By the time it's preheated, I can make the pizza, shove it in there, and then shove it in the simples. Pizza piper, picked pepper, pizza piper, picked pickle, pickle is a verb, and it means to preserve food or other perishable item. As a noun, it refers to whatever it is that has been preserved. Most people in America further narrow the definition down to mean the soggy little green thing that you find on a Chick-fil-A sandwich. So let's reduce the whole act of preserving food into two categories: curing and killing. With curing, we nurture good bacteria already present on the food. They'll dominate the bad bacteria, and in return, for saving their little lives, they'll give us complex, nuanced flavors and textures. But with killing, see pasteurization. See it? Do you see it? We're just fucking killing everything. In these things now, we are using a form of the latter. They're killing. Apple cider vinegar, because I like it. Really fucking simple. We'll do a cup, and it's 250 ml. And, you know, if you weren't watching, I would just pour sugar in it with reckless abandon. But I'm going to measure it. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Basically going to be sweet and sour pickles. Put a teaspoon and a bit more salt. Well, these are going to sit in the jar for a while. Eventually, it'll taste very nice and bay leafish, because it's just going to sit there and slowly but surely the vinegar is going to pull that out. We'll put a tablespoon of these pink peppercorns. Interesting fact, pink peppercorns are not peppercorns, some sort of berry. Even more interesting, they're related to cashew, but don't try and plant one and expect a cashew tree to spring out of the ground. Fucking hell. Check it out. What's it all about? Slice these nice and thin. Take your time, not your finger. Alright, peppers chopped. Fill in the jar like this. Do want them all to be coated with vinaigrette. And there you go. Fucking done. These will be just fine in about an hour. Obviously, they'll be a lot more tasty tomorrow. As long as you refrigerate these bad boys, you can play around with the vinegar and the sugar ratios. You can add water if you want to. Add different peppercorns, different herbs. Put a shoe in it. But know this, a higher concentration of vinegar will result in the peppers degrading quicker. They'll turn to mush before they're unsafe to eat. Depending on your tolerance of mush is how long they'll last. My approach is sweet, salty, acidic napalm. You bacteria. So let's make the sauce. Good old San Marzano. Normally, I would never even weigh it. I certainly wouldn't use scales or just chuck it in a thing and blitz it up. This is something that I won't be doing, that Brazilians apparently do, is go light on the sauce. I'll tell you why that is later. As far as the flavor of it, it's just basic tomatoes, oregano, blah, blah. The reason it's so alike an American one is because it's from Italian immigrants, just like the sauce in America. Roughly a couple of 100 grams of this. We'll go with 200 grams because it's a nice, lovely round number, easier to type. Half a cup, half a pint, 1 cup. Bone-ish. Then we'll add 2 of these. These are called table spoons in your native tongue, which adds about 30 grams. 30 grams, 2 tablespoons. It's comparatively a lot more than most people would use, but I like it. And then this should be about 5 grams. We'll use Evo. Despite my protestations, should be 5 grams. And it's just enough. 6-ish grams of that. So I'm going to finish this with fresh oregano. You can use dried, which is one of the only dried herbs I would ever use. It's just going to get a quick blitz. Wink. Basically done. I'm not putting sugar in it. Give it a little sprinkle of kosher. Boink, boink, like that. Normally, you know, sugar, which this already contains, balance out acidity. I actually do think, yeah, I don't give a shit. It needs it. It's rather acidic, which is fine if that's what you like. We're going to balance it out a bit. That'll do. Easy peasy. 10 seconds if you're not talking to a camera. This is enough for 2, maybe a bit more. We're going to ham fist it with this. Lovely. You want it to be room temperature before it goes on the pizza. You know, you could do this right before you're going to make the pizza. This dough ball has been out far longer than an hour and a half. As I told you in the other chapter, the first thing to bear in mind when you're taking this out is be gentle with it. Handling it now is going to build up that gluten network. This mix is a flour, semolina, and medium grind cornmeal mix. And this is my whopping Crate and Barrel marble rolling pin that cost me $15. It weighs an absolute ton. The thing I like about this medium grind cornmeal is that it studs the base, gives a lovely texture to it. A review of the different dough relaxers, if you will. I think the papaya is the best. Kind of rolling out nice with only minor snapback. In order to provide maximum crispiness, I've found that putting a layer of oil between the sauce and the base, because the oil is hydrophobic and it pushes any moisture from the sauce. I don't dock this because I like to see bubbles in the dough. It's thin enough already. I like bubbles. They make it more crispy because they provide more layers. The one thing I've not tried with this yet is cooking the base on its own to crisp it up. All right, so when you're bringing your sauce back up to room, zap it for 5 seconds at a time because you don't want it to be too warm. It's so thin that warm sauce is just going to start mushing it up. And then we're going to sauce liberally because this thing tends to dry up pretty quickly. I don't know why. It might just be like the size of it. Could be the oil. You know, there's not a lot of crumb to crust ratio. A mix of 3 cheeses. Provolone, cheddar, white cheddar, by the way. Sharp white cheddar. I could only find these slices at the supermarket. It's a little bit like Provel, but it's now got the Swiss. Provolone cheese is Swiss-ish enough for me. Use a large grater for the mozzarella because we want that to melt slowly. And then we're going to use a small grater for the cheddar because we want the cheddar to melt quickly so it can get a bit caramelized. And I'm going to put pepperoni on this. I want some pepperoni tonight. Sounds good. We're basically going to just leave little gaps for the peppers. It's kind of like an Inception, isn't it? Like big round shit, big round things on it going in my big round mouth. And then this goes in, then comes out, then the banana peppers go on. Getting the big boy out for this, 16-inch peel. I've had the steel in the oven, 550 degrees, well over an hour. She's hot. Let's make sure she comes off nice. I'm just gonna shove her in, top shelf, baby. Close the door as soon as you can. Sure as you can. Just literally 3 or 4 minutes and we're looking good, baby. Take yourself a little peek at that. Pepperoni's blazing. Thin and crispy and bubbly. Just how I like it. Most of you are just gonna have chopsticks. It saves you like dipping it in vinegar. I'm not the best with chopsticks, but that's how you get better at it. Okay, this is only gonna go in for another couple of seconds just to give it final browning of our walnut oil. You can use any oil. So first, the oil. You see where all this is dry all around the ridge? So I've been doing a little bit of extra sauce there. Cover it up with Parmesan cheese. It'll be like we've not done anything. Think about this pizza. It is basically one big crust. There's almost no crumb. Extra bit of sauce makes a difference. Some of this all natural Parmesan Romano. She's looking pretty good already, right? Thinnest. If that. Look at that. How beautiful is it? Wafer thin. Get some cracked pepper on it while she's nice and hot. As you can see, these peppers still moist, yet we have a beautiful crack of crumb and loads of pepperoni oil. It's gonna like all dry and coalesce. It's pretty crispy.
pizza.
At the beginning of the video, I asked if this was the crispiest pizza in the world. The short answer is no, not the crispiest. The long answer is no. Yeah, so could it be crispier? How will we know? How will we ever know? Well, we'll use this as a springboard to make many more till we do. It is crispy. Well, it's such a light crispiness, the edges for sure. You can definitely tell there's something magical about it. This pizza has made me want to achieve the holy grail of crispy pizzas. Thinnest, crispiest, but yet pizza-like. That's very important because you can get, and that's what this is. You can get some pizzas that are super thin, but they're just like a massive cracker. And the first question is definitely answered. What is one of the more important elements of a crispy pizza? And that is its height, if you will. And all of these techniques have combined to take us to quite a satisfying height, if you will. Let's just call it an uncommonly crispy pizza. Let me know down there in the comments what your ideas are. On the next video on Brazilian thin crust pizza, which is going to come very soon, I'm going to show you this stuff. Salsa golf, my version of it. And I'm going to show you a different version of this. Thanks for watching this one. I love you. Oh, and dead quick, if you are a subscriber and you want to know when my videos come out, just every now and then check your subscription feed, because YouTube sure as shit is not going to show you my videos until I've got 1 trillion subs. I'll see you in the next video.